And for a lot of, I know me, I feel prettier with wigs or straight hair. I feel prettier. I feel more feminine with hair, wearing hair that mimics another race of people.
Have you ever came across a woman wearing a weave or a wig, and your thought may have been, how does she feel about her actual hair? I know I have. Today, it's going to be a conversation about weave, natural hair, locks, whatever the case may be, whatever you may have. We're going to have an amazing conversation of truth. And welcome to Life Coaching by Mel. My name is Mel, and here we speak truth. I'm not referring to my truth, not referring to your truth. I'm referring to the Lord's truth. And guys, I can't have this conversation by myself. I have to have an actual professional on the line with me. Guys, welcome, Kristin Brown. How you doing today, Kristen?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Mel.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristin is the owner of Established Roots. She's a master loctician and a Sisterlocks Consultant. I see she rocking her Sisterlocks right there, ladies and gentlemen. So my wife actually recently joined the locks. She actually just celebrated her year anniversary. Has micro locks. It's like a cousin, I guess, of sister. Yes, indeed. And she's rocking it well. So, Kristen, what got you into this journey of Sisterlocks, and how did you become that master loctician that you are?
Whew, that's a very packed question and answer. So, what got me into getting locks? I was in college, and I just got sick of dealing with my natural hair. I love my natural hair, but it was just becoming tedious, and I wanted to focus on my books. And I just went ahead and started doing my research. I got established. It was a journey. So part of that journey was, for Sisterlocks, you have to have a three-part package. And the lady who established my locks, it was not a good experience. And I just said, I cannot go back for my follow-up, because it's your consultation, your establishment, and your follow-up. And I just was sitting in her chair, and I was just like, I can't come back here. I know we're going to be talking about religion. So part of it is she was a Jehovah's Witness. And I just felt really strange sitting in her chair. It wasn't that relaxed, peaceful feeling. I was very uneasy. And I found myself in San Diego taking the Sisterlocks course at home office. And I really did it to do my own reties. And I ended up, of course, establishing roots for other people. So it's just been an awesome journey, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It definitely is awesome. I appreciate you for sharing that with me. And so, how many years have you had your locks?
I have had them since 2018. So 5 years, going on 6 in October.
Wow, that's incredible. That's definitely incredible. Now, and you did mention we're going to get into some religious topics and more so spiritual. Just in what ways is this affecting our community, or just overall with natural hair? Because, ladies and gentlemen, you just buckle up here, because we found a video. It's a viral video that's going crazy right now on TikTok, especially, of a young lady who's, in my mind, she's just telling the truth. Take a look here, guys.
I do not look feminine with natural hair. Then coupled with the fact that the hair doesn't grow as fast, no. Some women have the confidence, they have the beauty to be able to pull off a short natural. I do not. And I think most Black women do not. They do not. And for a lot of, I know me, I feel prettier with wigs or straight hair. I feel prettier. I feel more feminine with hair, wearing hair that mimics another race of people. And I know that's a shame. And I know that's some internalized self-hate. But listen, my eyes aren't fooling me. I don't look, okay? I don't look that good in any style, but definitely when my hair looks what it looks like, natural.
And let me clarify very quickly here, Kristen, because I want to be sure I'm clear on this particular point. When I say telling the truth, I don't mean my opinion about it. I definitely mean what a lot of women are saying about their own hair. Essentially, she's going on to say what she believes about women having long hair, and a lot of women are responding with what they believe is actually the truth about this.
Black women do not have long hair. They do not have long natural hair. Black hair does not grow. It does not grow at the same speed as other races. If you are one of the unicorns where you can cut your hair one day, and in 2 months or 3 months, you got inches, you know you're a rare breed. When we cut our hair, that's it. It's going to take a little while for it to grow. Damage or undamaged, drinking water or not drinking water. Why do you think one of the major ways to make money is to sell black women growth oils? Even from Madam C.J. Walker to right now, you want to make a quick buck, sell a growth oil. Our hair does not grow like that.
Now you can go on TikTok and see hundreds of videos of women doing this exact same thing, and I love it. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful to see. But Kristen, before I get into my thoughts and we can go back and forth, please don't be afraid to disagree with your boy. Tell me your thoughts on what you hear this lady say.
The first video, her saying she doesn't look right or she doesn't feel she looks beautiful. First of all, she is. And I don't understand why people don't feel feminine. You know, it's your hair and it's growing out your head. You're a female if you got long hair, if you got short hair, if it's natural, if it's straight. If that's the real issue, you know, don't just get up out the bed and, you know, leave with a nest on top of your head. You know, put your makeup on. Like, there's some application that you have to put into it, some work, just to be presentable. So I don't think that has anything to do with natural hair. That's just grooming yourself in particular. So those are really my thoughts. And then, of course, her mentioning that you can't have long hair and natural hair. The lady in the video was like, she had that wrap. So I know about the wrap before I got locked up. But, you know, this is the longest my hair has ever been. And it's because I'm natural. And it's because it's just so easy, low maintenance. You know, it's a freedom lifestyle. So not worrying about your hair, it just lets it grow because you're not manipulating it as much. So I have to disagree with her as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, and I get it in totality. However, I just want to ask, like, is she saying the quiet part out loud? Because we know where the weave and just wig industry is right now, you know, overall, but specifically the way it affects the Black community. And so I'm asking, is this? And she mentioned Madam C.J. Walker, and we could talk about the way it is now, but this has always been the case. You know, going back to that time. You know, for those who are not aware, Madam C.J. Walker is known as the first female self-made millionaire in America. She made her fortune thanks to her homemade line of hair care products for Black women specifically, and essentially it was a perm. What do you say to someone, Kristen, that is saying like she's just saying what other Black women are afraid to say?
I've heard a lot of ladies say that when I tell them I'm a loctician and they say, oh, I'm not ready for that commitment. They're not ready for going natural. And of course, they're definitely not ready for locks. So it's a preference. If they don't feel like that's what they like, then, you know, that's on them what they want to do with their own hair that grows out their own head. But I mean, you know, I have my preference. Of course, now I love natural hair. I love locks. There's no way I'm going back to the cream and crack, as you hear people say, but that's what makes it easier for some people if they feel like they don't want to manage their relaxed hair, if they don't even want to manage their not relaxed hair, their natural hair.
For sure. So when you think of that preference that you mentioned, you know, I imagine you being a loctician and a beautician overall, you having these conversations, you know, daily, and you having them in your chair. Some of the most vulnerable places you can be is in the chair of someone that's caring for you. You know, even for a barber, you know, it's an amazing experience to just open up. I'm like, man, this dude's a therapist almost, you know. What are some of the things you're hearing when they say, hey, I just can't do it? Like, what are the reasons that they're saying that?
One of the reasons, and this is really based off of the type of clientele I have, a lot of them are professional. So that was what stopped them from getting locks, is they felt like they could not enter into the workforce and be accepted with their natural hair, how it is. And of course, you know, we have people who have locks, they're professional. And I see so many photo shoots, and, you know, that's something I'm wanting to get into. It's just really highlighting how locks can be professional. And, you know, you're not Medusa, or who is that lady that?
Yeah, Medusa. Medusa.
Like, no, it's not that. Like, this is modern. We are in 2024, and Like these locks are thriving and they're just as manageable and versatile as straight hair these days. You can style them. You can just do so much with them. You can put them in an updo. I know a lot of people who were in the military, and so that was also a something that would deter them. But they're making all types of leaps and bounds, even in the career force with natural hair.
Yeah, and I heard that, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's, you have the Crown Act that recently passed that maybe contributed to that, and also just we're just kind of changing as a society, for, slowly but surely. We get to a point that we've been more acceptable of other cultures, and I don't want to make this an all-out debate, but I do just want to ask questions because this is something I'm very interested in, because I do care about the image of the Black family, and I do care of just the overall health of the Black family, especially when it comes to mental health. So we talk about the things like the European standard of beauty, and we talk about the HR department saying there's only certain hairstyles you can have and things of that nature. But I find it more often that the first time that any Black child hear anything negative about themselves is typically in their own home. Typically from their mother. The first time people hear, a woman hears about your hair being nappy, it's from your mother. And we actually, you look it up, the term nappy was not a derogatory term at one point or another. We got a propensity in the Black community to turn negative terms to something positive, but this is a positive term we turn negative. So what are your thoughts on that? Just overall, like, is it true that in your view that sometimes we hear, or actually the majority of the time we hear negative feedback from our family members regarding our own hair?
It's true. It is very true. And we grew up and it was old school. So, your parents, they didn't understand natural hair. And because really I went natural in college because I just was done with it. But like, even when I got my locks, and, we all understand the different phases. You're going to have that pluck chicken phase at first where your hair is very scalpy, and you have to be okay with that whole process. Cause this is over 5 years of my hair being locked. When I first got locked, they didn't look great. So I chose those locks because I knew that's what I wanted, not for anybody else. But when I first got my locks, I had already kind of been showing my mom, and so she knew what to expect. But when I went to my granny's house, she didn't say anything. She always had something to say, but she just stared at me like I was an alien with boogers hanging out my nose or something. She was not feeling those locks. And, I remember my aunt, on the other hand, when I told her I'm getting locks, because for a long, long time, I would wear that puff ponytail. So I would like gel it back, and it would be very neat, very professional, and it'd just be a big ponytail, but I would kind of pack it and mold it and scold it just right. So I was really neat even when I had my afro. So when I was telling my favorite aunt about it, she said, well, you're interviewing. What are you going to do? Don't you still want a job? Like, I'm just going to be like, not have no job and be homeless because I decided to get locked. So I'm like, they take it to the extreme. So when I saw my grandma, I think about 3 or 4 years after my hair had really started locked, she said, I like your hair. It's really nice. And I had to remind her, me and my mom was like, remember how you acted right when I got that establishment? And, of course, they got selective memory.
You're right.
So yeah, it's a lot of parents, family members don't understand. And then they watch that journey and it's like, oh, then when they start talking about getting locks, it's like, okay, you're on board now.
You won them over.
I know parents who, like I have a client and she is 7 years old, but her mom locked her. And because she just didn't want to manage her hair, but instead of perming her, she locked her. Me, on the other hand, when I was a kid, I don't know why, and I think I went to, for the most part, it was a predominantly white school. And so I begged my mom to perm my hair. And I asked my mom, I'm like, why did you do that? Well, you just kept asking. I said, you didn't give me nothing else I asked for. So relax her. So yeah,
Right.
it's funny looking back, but I was like, that is too young for a perm. But
Yeah.
you know how the culture is Easter Sunday, you got to wear your dresses, and you're gonna have to
Yep.
either get the hot comb or the relaxer.
Absolutely. That's 100% true. I mean, I remember the days of definitely perms. My mama did perms early for my sisters. I have 3 sisters, 2 younger.
Mhm.
And I remember my 2 younger, they maybe 4. Well, it would have to be like 6 and 2 or 7 and 3 because we all like 4 years apart. I'm seeing them with like the pushback, your hair pushed back and then got the clip of weave on the back. I don't know what it's called. You know,
I like the
I'm like,
ponytail.
like a ponytail, but it's like the big weave, the big
Mm.
curly. I don't know what number that is. I'm just saying. But I went to my mama one time and said, "Mama, these are little girls. Like, where the barrettes at? Where the ribbons at? What I had to check on that." And she
Mhm.
just did not want anything to do with doing their hair more often than not. And then I remember I had girlfriends. I had my sophomore year. I had a girlfriend that she was natural, and she had the big chop or whatever. So my mom called her little bitty hair. Like every time she came to the house, she called a girl little bitty hair. I'm like, hold on now.
That was her
But
nickname. That was her
that was her
nickname.
nickname. So
Wow.
needless to say, the girl didn't last long. So it's just the way it
Mhm.
is. But anyway, the point is, it's just the culture that I grew up in, and I think my house represented a lot of houses I knew about, that the culture was, natural hair was not the standard. And so, what is this wave looking like for you, especially the new wave that is happening? Especially with your clients, with the professionals. What are they saying is the biggest push that has them leaning more towards their natural hair?
It was COVID. Like a lot of people
Mm.
that just were apprehensive when COVID hit. I was establishing back to back to back. Like, um, so my stepmom, she did a lot of these people are work from home people. So she was working from home, and I completely shut down and stopped doing hair for the shutdown here. And she reached out to me because I had been trying to get her to get locks because her hair was, I just knew it would be perfect for it. And
Yeah.
I told her, I said, it's Mother's Day, and I said, I'm not working, so you might want to come get your locks now while I don't have any clients. So she traveled to me, and I put her locks in, and I know now she's regretting that she didn't do it any sooner. But a lot of people were getting established during the pandemic just because it's like they had their sweats on and they didn't want to be bothered with doing their hair anymore. So it was perfect for me. Like it was a blessing in disguise. A lot of people
Right.
accepting their natural hair, and then they knew they wouldn't have to return back to the workforce, so they could get through that little ugly phase, as we call it, and they got full natural locks by the time they're back at work.
Right, right. I love it. And that definitely, turned a corner for a lot of people. Like even with divorce rates, and thing I talk about often with divorce, some people talked about how it would increase uh based on the fact that we were home a lot during the pandemic, but it
Mhm.
actually decreased. When they look back at it, it decreased. I think people start to take in more self-solution resolutions, basically finding ways to be more self-sufficient, I should say.
Mhm.
And natural hair and locks is one of those ways, and that's a beautiful thing. Let's dig into this a little bit because we've been chatting a little bit about just the spiritual component of just this whole idea of natural hair. You found some things that is sparked your interest regarding the lock industry. Why don't you introduce that?
Yes, yes, yes. So, one of the things I noticed is locks to me is just hair, and there are spiritual components to it. But I'd realized that a lot of, not even a lot of locticians, but it's just a few of them who they really get into it, and they have all these different practices that they incorporate into starting locks or retightenings. So you'll see certain people like burning sage in between clients, and I don't know what that has to do with locking hair, but I guess you deal with so many different personalities, and I guess that's their way of clearing the energy. Me, I'm just gonna pray before they come, or if they
Yeah.
wear me out too bad, you just can't come back. I'm not burning sage, or I ain't gonna be smoking no weed behind, dealing with you and doing yeah. And then it's tools that I was seeing, and it was one tool in particular. It's a whole kit, and I was seeing people use it, and it's just like the tool that I use, but it's a sturdier material. And so I was going to buy that tool on the website, and part of what was in the kit was, how do you call it? Palo Santo?
Yeah, Palo Santo.
Palo Santo. Okay.
Right.
That was part of what was in the kit. And I'm like, well, what does this have to do with somebody's hair? Like, and so I got researching it, and I'm just like, this is really witchcraft. Like, you're practicing witchcraft. And so, I had to log out because I can't support that. So it's been a lot of stuff. And then also there are different like tarot readers and just different people who have been reaching out to me asking me if I want a palm reading and all of this stuff. And it's like, I don't know how they find me, but it has something to do with the natural, the naturalistic hair care part of it. Because natural is one thing, but using herbs and concocting a pot of this and that, like, I'm not doing all of that. I'm just doing that. I don't need
Right.
natural remedies that's going to summon any demons or nothing.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I noticed that because I look back to my before I met my wife, when I was on the dating scene. I've been on this. I've always loved natural hair and love women with natural hair, but I said, coming out of my previous marriage, I'm like, look, I'm gonna make sure I get a woman that loves her natural hair. That's just something I wanted. Maybe it's been a little short-sighted for me. I'll take that. But
That's your preference.
that's just what I wanted.
Yeah,
That's my preference, But the more I looked into it, I find these women with locks. Oh man, she look good. I know she's gonna love her hair. Hold on, what's that sage? What's that? What's them bowls? the more you look into their profile or look into who they are, they a witch.
They love their hair, and they love consulting their ancestors, which really ain't their ancestors, And the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper. The more you be like, what? And you start learning about stuff you never even heard of. Like, oh, you practice make up stuff now.
Right. So I said, forget that. Let me get the girl with the weave. Come on now. No, I'm just joking. But at the end of the day, and I guess it was teaching me that natural hair doesn't correlate to just everything. There's a large broad audience, I guess, for that. And so that is prominent in the natural hair and the lock industry of people who are indulging in other religious beliefs. Mm-hmm. But what would you say to someone, just playing devil's advocate, quote unquote devil's advocate, Kristen? What would you say to someone that says, hey, you're just being too deep? That shouldn't be an issue just because you do someone's hair or someone you partner with someone in that profession that indulges in witchcraft. That doesn't affect you as a Christian. What would you say?
It does. I have had clients transfer to me based off of what their locticians are doing. And it's not what they're doing while they're there, it's what they're doing behind the scenes, because everything is spiritual. We are spiritual beings having human experiences, and you have to be careful who you let in your head. You can ask Samson that. He went to a Philistine hairdresser and lost all his shit behind, what she was doing behind the scenes, So you really have to be careful who you allow in your head. That's right. Your crown is right there. It's right by your mind. And if you lose your mind, you cannot get it back.
That's so true. So true. So I want to bring that back to the weave conversation, what you just said, just protecting your crown and just that whole, like I said, spiritual component to it. You have 1 Corinthians 11:15 that says, but if a woman has long hair, it is her glory, for her hair is given to her for a covering. With the weave industry, you have a large segment coming as far as the human hair, come from countries like India, mm-hmm. and people who are cutting their hair for religious purposes. Is there any correlation or any way that transfer in your mind to any woman who put that in her hair?
are they sacrificing the hair before they cut it off to idols?
I believe so.
So it's pretty much just like don't eat food sacrificed to idols, but instead of eating the food and consuming it, you just got it on top of your head the whole time. So,
Right.
you know, you don't know what's attached to that, because you know there are, you know, spirits can connect to different things, or some people might not call it spirits, but certain types of energies, and you know you have to be really careful with putting your trust in weave or even crystals and all of that different stuff, like material objects, and thinking that it's gonna bless you when really it's gonna curse you.
Yeah, that's powerful there. I think that, and I'm not trying to push you into my line of controversy, but I think there is a correlation in my mind to when you see the weave epidemic, and I call it epidemic because it just went crazy. Like it was always part of us, but it seems like the early 2010s era is where it really just started to boom even the more, where it became it's like a shift took place, Kristen, because at one point growing up, I'm sure we're around the same age, we used to make fun of people. The girl who came to school with a wig,
Yeah.
she got roasted like crazy, you know, and everyone knew it wasn't her hair, and she would say it ain't her hair. But now you talk about a woman's weave or wig or whatever front lace front, she gonna say, "Shut up! I bought it. You know, it's
It's
mine. I paid
mine.
for it. It's mine."
And
You
these
know, to the
weaves
point,
are costing a lot too.
a whole lot. And you talk about just okay. I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and go there. So, in the black community specifically, you know, the in 2026 is projected for the the weave and the wig industry to be about $13.28 billion. Right now, I lost that number, but right now it's around that. So it's projecting to be there in 2026. So right now, approximately, it's about 6.6 for the black community alone. So it's about 6.7. If everything projects the way it is now in 2026, it'll be about 6.7 billion for all other races.
Wow.
Because from that financial standpoint alone, we talk about the issues and the things that the black community need. You have groups that ask for reparation. They are asking currently for reparations, and we asking for help and assistance from the government. Some people are, not all of us, but there are a lot of groups out there saying that. Is this something that we can look at and say, hey, we got $6.6 billion going to
Wow.
just weave, just wigs? How do you view that? I'm not, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, let me know. But
I
how do
mean,
you view that help, like hindering our community?
people put their money where your treasure is where your heart will be. So if you are
Amen.
spending, and it's really just something you have to assess for yourself. So if, say, I had a perm, or maybe I want a wig on top of my locks. If I'm spending $600 on a wig, but I'm walking past somebody that's homeless that needs, a meal, and they're in my community, they're black, like that lets you know what's important to you. You're more vain versus caring about your fellow brother or sister.
Yes, absolutely. In comparison, how much would you say just the average woman with sister locks, or just locks in general, how much would you say they would spend in a given year?
I'm trying to think, if we talking about the establishment as well, or just reties for the year.
You tell me. You can do both because
Let
I'm
me
I'm
put my
I'm I'm
calculator
learning.
out right quick. Let's
Do you
see.
think?
Trying to think, was I say about 8 retires a year? It's about 1,200 a year.
1,200 a year, and that's how many wigs you think that is?
That's a lot of wigs, and them wigs met up real quick. The wigs ain't gonna last you, but if you invested in your own hair, all you got to
Yes,
do is your own hair.
yes, indeed. And you talk about the word investing, and I promise you, I'm not picking on our women because I love our women. I promise you, I married a black woman, you know, so and so on. I've never been with a woman outside my race because I love our women. But when you talk about the investing, and I'm not trying to exalt my wife at all, but she did some research. We have a couple locticians here in Dallas, but she said, man, I can do this. I don't want to do it. Like, the time investing in this will be crazy, but I can do it. So she decided to do it on her own, and she does all her retwists on her own. Throughout the time I've talked to women about natural hair, the number one thing they say, just like this lady said here, the time invested, or it's too tough to do. I put all those things they say together, and I say this word that pisses them off or makes them angry. You're lazy. It boils down to laziness. I mean, tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay. Part of getting locks is being able to be pampered. So letting somebody else do it for you, or if you're getting a retie, those are two completely different journeys. Okay. So if somebody decides to do it on their own, I take my hats off to them. I don't do my own reties. I barter with another consultant. So if you're not doing it, like I said, I take my hats off to her, but yeah, it's a lot of work. And so if we're talking about time invested as far as sitting down to get the locks put in, to get the locks established, you're not doing the work. I'm doing the work. Your consultant is doing the work. So, I mean, yes, time as far as you might have to, block off a day or two to get the initial establishment, but you can watch movies, bring your laptop, work, do whatever you got to do. But yeah. It's just about how long you can sit, and we always take breaks and everything like that. But if you don't want to do your own retie, you're not lazy, because it really is a lot of work. Your hands are over your head the whole time, and after an hour or two, I start joining locks, and I make knots, and so that's when I realized I'm not doing it myself. I took the class. I'm not built for this.
Right. And when we talk about locks, that definitely is an upper echelon of, natural hair, upper echelon of difficulty, I would say, especially when it comes to the time that it takes. However, when it comes to just regular Bantu knots and, things of that nature, what excuse do we have for them that don't want to do that?
I guess none, but they just have to go have a professional do it. Just you can go to the hair school. Like I go to the hair school. I'm an evening student, and they come in and they pay about $10 to get a shampoo and a style, because they're not paying for all they're paying for is the products. They're not even paying for the labor. So if you don't feel like doing your own hair, male calls it lazy, but if you don't want to do your own hair, go to the beauty school, because it's a lot of aspiring stylists, and they're not licensed yet. But as long as you go in there and you sign that waiver, let them use you as a guinea pig. But it's somebody coming around and checking on us, and all of that. So just do that. You don't have to do the work, and you don't have to pay as much as an actual stylist. So I would suggest going to a hair school, beauty school.
I love it. See, she's providing solutions, ladies and gentlemen, providing solutions. Well, as we begin to wrap up here, Kristen, more than anything, I hear this lady's heart, and I say she's saying the quiet thing out loud, because when you see the numbers, financial numbers, more than anything, it's saying she's not the only one buying all these wigs and weaves. The reason that women are choosing to wear this beyond wearing the natural hair, and they say, hey, we just got a protective style. Well, what are you protecting it from? Like, I never see your other hair. It's just like having a car in the driveway and you got the car cover on like 365 days of the year. Nobody knows what's under there, at the end of the day. What do you say to a women that actually feel this way and are afraid to admit it, or just don't want to say it publicly, of course, but speak to their heart, speak to the woman that's actually looking at herself in the mirror and doesn't like what she see?
I can't make them love themselves, but established roots first and foremost is about spiritual roots. Part of being accepted is not just accepting your hair, but accepting who you are and being accepted by Christ, because you're accepted and beloved in him. So if you accept him, he's already died and accepted you. And so that's part of it, not just not just your hair, but all of you, your entire whole being. So that is the biggest takeaway that I have for that. And just on the hair part of it, I get it. When I was in college, before I locked up and I had my natural hair, I was so sick of doing my hair to the point that I was wearing a wig, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but it got matted up underneath. It was supposed to be a protective style, and I took that wig. I had to cut half of it off. Like, it was so bad. So you know,
See?
that was lazy. Now that right there, that was lazy.
Yes.
So yeah, just accepting your hair, accepting who you are, and that's just something you have to deal with.
And that's beautifully said. And I think accepting who you are definitely comes more of an easier thing, or something that you can readily do when you have Christ in your life. Man, as much as we talk about Jesus and, you know, claim to be Christians, like that authentic relationship, you know, it's a thing that really shows you your true identity, you know. And it's not just about church. It's not just about saying the right things. It's about, you know, him being in your heart, and that purifies everything. I want to kind of wrap it up here. I didn't want to direct you too much into my skullduggery. No, I'm just playing. To my ways of seeing this thing. I appreciate you kind of batted and not the way my attempts to drag you into this harsh conversation. I appreciate it.
I had a good time. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. And I want to give you the floor, give you your last words, whatever you like to say to the people. Also, tell people how they can find you on all your social medias.
I am Kristen Lynette Brown on Instagram. So that's KristinLynnette Brown, BROWN. And you can just hashtag like established roots or Tucker Sisterlocks, and you'll find me automatically. And then on TikTok, it's established roots KLB. So just established roots KLB. YouTube isn't as big as yours, so you don't even have to worry about that.
No, that's how we help each other grow.
It is Kristen Brown 5610. And then on Facebook, I'm just Kristen Brown.
Love it, love it. So anyone in the Atlanta area, how can they find your facility?
They could reach out to me through Instagram. We'll have a consultation so that we can either meet at the Industrious office or we can actually meet at my home-based salon.
All right, Kristen, it's been a joy and pleasure having you on. Hope to do this again at some point.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Be blessed.
Let's go.